of our Vedo family history from you here today, since we don't know a lot of the details. So, over to the United States. Do you know anything about them when they were still in Italy?
No, I didn't. Oh, I know my grandma, my mother's mother, she used to, she had people write to me.
Okay. Now, where, do you remember the town that they lived in Italy?
Yeah, the town is, you want the,
Just whatever you remember.
wait a minute, not Cosenza was
The name of the town or the province? Was it the same as Calusa or be the same as California?
like the county.
The county, okay.
Yeah, Cosenza.
Cosenza, okay.
Yeah. Can you want to, do you know how to spell it?
Go ahead and spell it for me.
C-O-S-E-N-S-A.
Okay, Cosenza. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And then you said Grandpa's mother died when he was a boy?
His grandmother raised him.
Okay.
She died when he was 7 years old.
How about his father?
He don't remember the
You don't
father.
remember the
The
father.
father was dead.
Okay. And then, did Grandma come from the same area, Cosenza?
Grandma,
Your mother?
my mother came from the same area.
Same area, okay.
But my father came from the bottom of Italy.
Bottom of Italy,
Yeah,
Calabrese area?
He never did know the town.
Okay, all right. And then he came over to the United States when, he was about 21?
21.
And what did he do then?
Well, he worked for the railroad.
Okay.
You know, where they got on them little cars.
Right. And what city did he
Well,
first?
he traveled 17 states.
17 states, okay.
Uh-huh.
And then he finally settled in what city?
Evelyn, Minnesota.
Ellis, Minnesota. Is that where he met your mother?
My mother came to
Evelyn?
Evelyn.
Okay. And tell us how that happened. How did that happen?
Oh, a lady friend and her, my father had a man friend. And they both sent for my mother and her and the other lady's man's girlfriend.
Okay.
So the two women came together.
And so did you say that your father paid her way to come over?
My father paid her way.
Okay.
And he told her when she got there, if you don't want me, you don't have to
Marry her.
me.
Yeah.
And she said, I came here for you and I want you.
All right. And she was 21 at that time too, wasn't she about?
She was, my father was 11 years older.
11 years older, okay. So, but was she about 21 when she came over to meet
She
him?
was 21.
21. So they both actually were 21 when they came to the United States at different times.
Yeah. But my father was 11 years older.
Right. Okay, and so then what kind of work did he do in Evelyn?
In the mines.
In the mines, worked in the mines.
And then later on in life, he got to be a policeman.
Okay. And did I hear somebody tell me when I was a little girl that he was in Chicago at one time? He heard Caruso sing. Was that a true story or was that a fib? Do you remember that? Somebody told me that when he was a young man, he heard Caruso sing in Chicago. Do you remember that at all?
I don't remember that.
Okay, that might have been a story.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
He might have. Who knows?
Okay. And did you say that your mother had a brother or sister or
The brother died in Africa.
in Africa?
He was a painter.
A painter. Okay.
And he died from pneumonia.
Pneumonia.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said he was a very tall young
Tall
man.
man. Tall man. His name was John Batista. Just my mother named.
Oh, so your mother named my dad after him.
After her brother.
Okay.
After her
Yeah,
brother.
her brother. And so your father did not have any brothers or sisters that you know of.
He told me once that he had a sister, but he never did know her.
Okay. All right. So then, and then as far as, so you were the firstborn in Evelyn.
Evelyn.
Okay. And then how many, I know that some of the children, youngsters died, so tell me the detail about that.
Dom was after me.
Right.
and Inez was after Dawn. And then the two sisters were after Inez.
So they were twins, was it?
No, they were 2 years apart.
2 years apart. And what did they die of?
Well, the first one she was 6 months old. And the doctor gave her a medicine for 6 years old.
Oh, wow. So it was an error on the part of the doctor.
And the snow there, the doctor knew he did wrong. He threw the bottle out.
Oh, boy.
Because he didn't want to have proof.
Okay. And then the other one?
The other one died from, she was 2.5.
2.5?
She died from pneumonia. And fever. What is the name of that fever?
Scarlet fever, maybe?
Rheumatic?
Rheumatic fever? Scarlet fever?
Well, it was a fever.
A fever of some sort.
And pneumonia.
Okay. And what were their names? Do you remember?
Angelina
Was the first one?
First one. And Angeline
Angeline. She liked that name then, huh?
was the second one.
Okay, and then, so then there was, then Seal and Francis after that, right?
Yeah, they came after. Francis was the baby. Celia was before Francis.
So they were actually born in Calusa, weren't they? Because
Francis and Celia were born right here.
Yeah.
Right in this house.
In this house, because my dad was only 3 when they moved here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they had to be, okay. And then, see, what else do we need to know? So then, when they moved here, then what did the family do? What did Grandpa do to earn a living when they moved here?
He worked on a farm.
On the farm. And then, actually, why did they move here? Did some friends tell them about
Well, I'll
Calusa?
tell you how that happened. My mother used to always be sick, and it was cold back there. She had pneumonia twice, and she nearly died. So, what's their names that lived here? You know, my head, I don't know.
Hey, 93, you're doing great. Okay. One of the Italian families here?
The Italian family here.
Was it Leach?
He has a restaurant in Williams.
Oh, Kairos, the Kairos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kairos are the ones that sent for us.
Okay, all right.
And they're the ones that sent the fare. Then my father worked on the ranch, and he paid the fare back.
So your mother knew the Kairos before, is that?
Oh, my mother and the Kairos were like this.
Okay.
They used to live there.
So they came from the same area in Italy then? Okay.
And the Kairos are the ones that sent for us.
Well, that's interesting, Tom. I never knew that.
No,
Did
I
you?
didn't either.
Yeah, we'll have to mention that to Patty and what's her name? The other girl.
Chelsea?
I can't think of
Yeah,
it.
well, Charlesy and Doug, yeah, but the other girl that had the polio.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't think her name. We'll have to mention that when we. I'll be darned, because we grew up with the Cairo kids when we lived
Yeah, I think
over there by the
remember.
on Park Hill.
I remember.
And I didn't even know that. Yeah, well, that's interesting. So then, Grandma died when she was about 53.
She was 53.
And
She died in 33.
in 33. And do you remember the cause of death?
And my mother?
Was it, somebody told me pernicious
Leukemia.
Leukemia?
Leukemia.
Leukemia. Okay, because I've heard different stories there. And then the other story that never has been clarified, and I think you told me, and I trust your memory on this. When Grandpa moved to the United States, they changed the family name.
The man, when he went to get his, what do you call it, the license, he says, "What is your name?" Vuodo, V-U-O-D-O.
V-U-O-D-O.
He says, "Well, let's change it to V-E-D-O."
Okay, so it's V-U-O-D-O.
V-U-O-D-O.
Okay, I got it.
And then the man said, "Let's change it to
Vedo.
V-E-D-O."
Okay, so there we go. So that got clarified. Okay, can you think of anything else about the family history that might be interesting to to remember that we haven't talked about yet? Because we covered pretty much most of the things.
Well, the governor, or no, the head of the town, what was it?
The mayor.
Mayor.
Uh-huh.
He's the one that put my dad in for a policeman.
For a policeman.
Yeah.
Was here in, was that in Minnesota or here?
Minnesota.
In Minnesota, in Evelyn.
Evelyn.
Okay. Yeah. And then,
Then my father and mother had a store in the house that we lived.
uh-huh,
And he used to buy his groceries in Duluth.
okay.
And I used to go with him. He'd
Okay.
take me with him.
That's a happy memory, huh?
Uh-huh. And candy, he ordered everything in that store.
Uh-huh.
The store was in front of the house.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just like the old days, you see the movies, uh-huh. Now, and when you guys lived, is this the only house that they lived in when they moved to Calusa?
No, the Cairos had a shack in back of their house.
Uh-huh.
And they had it made into a
A home?
home for us.
Okay,
And then my father and mother wanted to get to a home of their own.
right.
And this front part used to be a schoolhouse.
Well, now, I never knew that. A schoolhouse,
Uh-huh.
uh-huh.
And then this was added on.
Uh-huh.
And the schoolhouse and the back porch, Jack moved that, had that made.
Right.
But this front part was a schoolhouse.
Well, I'll be darned. So, and did you guys, when you were young, did you have a big garden, fresh vegetables and
Oh,
everything?
we had a garden, we had all the vegetables, and we had a big chicken yard.
Oh, I remember that. I remember when I was about 3, a rooster flew on my back, and your dad just about beat him to death with his cane. I remember it, or either I remember hearing about it, or I remember it, one or the other. Yeah.
Battery's starting to go.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's about it. So thank you for this wonderful history.
I'm glad to do it. for you.
Okay. And we
And
get to.
and I loved my brother, and I did all I could.
Well, we
I did all
know.
I could for him.
We appreciate it. He loved you to pieces too, even though he's on me sometimes. Huh?
I know.
He loved you.
I know.
Okay, Aunt Rose.
He
Thanks,
had,
Aunt